Hi, I'm Nettie. Recently, my tune Traction came out on FiXT Noir, and that makes a great opportunity to make a track breakdown. Today, I'll be going over how I made the sustain basses, how I did the sound design, and how I arranged Traction. So let's get into it. Alright, starting off in the drop. So, let's start with the initial, like, bow, 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 boo. So this is a vital patch. And basically what it is, it's like two wavetables, as you can see here. You've kind of got this one, which is at like a fifth. So it's like, you'll see it's like 5 semitones down from being at 48, which is like, I think 3 octaves up. And then we have these like tape stops. This one is bound to the master note. I forget how you do it, but it's there. And yeah, some volume automation, some effects on them to make them nice and fat. And yeah, some more saturation, and that's about it. And then we have the sustain bass. That's one of the layers, which is a vital patch, and I think that's what we were seeing earlier, and it's just kind of another vital patch. What's giving it that tonality is this Combs filter. I noticed that the Combs filter in Vital is like a lot more metallic than the one in Serum, so I kind of capitalized on it and made this super metallic sustain bass. And we have this one right here, which is kind of the main one that you hear, and it also really doesn't have that much post-processing. Again, kind of same LFO stuff going on. We just have a bit of distortion, compression, and chorus on it. Most of this is just duplicated vital patch stuffs that I just eventually ended up layering. And then we have this, which is the massive sub bass. Now this took a lot of EQing, as you can see. So I really tried to make sure that the fundamental of the sub was the loudest bit, and then like we have like one harmonic that's kind of following it up. But besides that, there's not that many other harmonics. And that's what's making it sound clean. So it's just a basic sine wave with like some noise on it and max distortion. But yeah, that's what's doing that, and that's what's making that loud. Yeah, and then right here we have an extra layer kind of coming in, which is doing like a major third, and I imagine that's coming from this thing. Yeah, you kind of get that from this like harmonic stretch feature in Vital. Another layer that we have going over the top of these sustain basses is this like sound design session that I did, and you kind of hear this. And it's like a weird like gritty layer that I somehow like stumbled upon. But I'm layering that over like a lot of these sounds just to make them that much more gritty. And then right here we have this little thing, which is like a chopped up version of this one like vocal that I overuse in like all my projects. It's become a staple in my more recent like unreleased songs to have that exact that exact vocal chop in every song. And then, you know, it comes to this part, which is this one vital patch, which I just kind of like custom designed, if you will. I'm pretty sure this is just the init like saw wave patch with like I think just another Combs filter. Has a lot of frequency shifter, fat rack, you know, an EQ to take out some of the high end. Even afterwards, it's still pretty aggressive in the high end. Yeah, another layer, kind of same processing as the other one. This one's just a saw wave that's like pitching down. And then this. Another layer, kind of pretty similar processing as well. This one isn't frequency shifted though. And it's more just like a gritty extra layer. We have this, which is like a bass that I use like pretty often if I'm trying to make some gritty layered stuff. I made this like almost a year ago probably, in just a sound design session. Yeah, and another one of those. And yeah, even though you can't really hear some of these layers, like they're still there and they still like add a lot to the presence, I feel like. Yeah, and then we come to this part. This is just the same thing, but then an octave down. And then we have like this like huge like Reese underneath. That's just like pitching up an octave over the span of like this amount of time. Yeah, and that just keeps going up and up. And this has just like some saturators, an amp. An amp is like the main on the heavy setting specifically is like the main thing that I'm using to get this kind of like, I don't know, tonality to my Reese's. And yeah, we just have a bunch of risers layered to get the maximum amount of tension. And then we come to the pre-drop. So this is, again, just a lot of layering. We have a different sub this time, which is mixed differently as well. I don't know why I did that. And then we have this. It's the same triplet layer as over here. Yeah, same with that one. This is some sound design I did after, like a little bit after my 10K sample pack came out. Yeah, I just processed it a bit more, like frequency shifted it a bunch, OTT'd it, EQ'd the high end kind of. Yeah, some more frequency shifter automation, some more saturation, which I'm automating, which is kind of weird. I think that's because I did like a fake out and like it became like noticeably more quiet, so I like turned it up using a saturator. Yeah, and then it comes down. Yeah, more EQing to take out some high end. Tape stop, right here. And then we have some sustain basses playing over top of this. We have this, which is also another sound design session. I think when you're like layering a lot of stuff, so especially for like sustain basses or like anything like more heavy or like color bassy, you kind of have to have like a pretty big sample library of just like doing sound design, like, you know, here and there. You know, when making these songs, you can just drag in all your samples and then you don't have to like individually design all these layers. So for this kind of stuff, it's perfect to have a massive sample library that you've just kind of built up yourself. But yeah, anyway, we have this. Another one of those. Kind of funny, it's like completely mono. Another Reese, which I'm pretty sure is the exact same Reese as the build-up Reese. Just like processed a bit differently maybe, or like just like more concise. And then we have a little flow switch up here. To get this kind of flow, you have to like have one long note and then one short note, and then like you repeat that. So you have like, you kind of get that flow. And I like to mess with this a lot, especially in these more like percussive kind of songs. It's really fun to mess with like note length. Into this, which is actually, if anyone's like familiar with my older music, this bass is a reference to my song Passive Aggressive. It's just like an FM, and this FM knob is like tuned perfectly to be on like the major third of the root note. So basically, if you get it just right, you can just make this in like 2 seconds. And yeah, I just processed it a bit more, added some fat racks, EQ'd it a bit more. Yeah, there you go. This layer, which is just a massive combs filter thing, as you can see. Just some wavetables, more of the same sound design from the first drop. Weird extra layer that I did not know existed. This is like 4 frequency shifters, but you'll notice that they all are doing like different things with the square thing. So like this one is, for example, at just like the standard like triplets. This one is at quarter notes, so it'll like cause these clashing rhythms. And this one is at half notes, and this one is at you know, whole notes or whatever. And so you get this weird texture because of it, and this is like really good for like bleepy bloopy Riddim or something, or just like this weird digital sustain basses like I'm using here. And then we're back to the midsection. And then let's go to the third drop. Okay, so same little first like fake out thingy right here. Same sound design from earlier, just repeated a bunch to really drive the point home of, hey, this melody is the theme of the song. We just have a sub, simple sub. I'm pretty sure this is the same one as this one, but then at quarter notes instead of just like the sustained, you know, continuation kind of thing. And then for the actual sound design, yet again, a bunch of layering. This is like a super messy sound. I think this is like a lot of layer. Yeah, here, I kind of like layered this stuff. Yeah, there you go. That's basically this sound, which is just compiled of like 4 different layers, which are all like separately processed a bit. So we have this. Yeah, that thing. Like a white noise layer. we have the main thing. That thing, I don't even remember doing this. That, and then you get like this massive. And then, you know, I resampled that and put it here. And then, you know, with enough processing, which is just like a lot of like taking out high end, as you can see, like using notch filters and stuff, and a lot of saturation, you just kind of get this like massive sound out of it. Yeah, I think I went in and took this layer and just like separately frequency shifted around. Yeah, you can see that there. And then I used those to like get different tonalities out of it. With this, which is yet again another separate sound design like thing. I have no idea how I made this. It's kind of a weird sound. We have this, which is from my laser rack that I made like ages and ages ago. Yeah, yet again, that same crunchy layer. Just a whole lot of flow switch ups and variations in the sounds are just causing this whole drop to exist. More or less just repeats and with a bunch of risers at the bottom, and that's it. Okay, so moving on to the intro. There's this one, which is me Mongolian throat singing. And that gets pitched up an octave here. And then we have this, which is one from Splice. And that just gives it like a bit of grunge. Like it's pretty subtle, but you can kind of hear it there. We have this massive Reese. And this is just like a saw wave with a separate sub. And some hyperdimension, distortion, and compression. Absolutely cranked the shit out of this amp. This poor amp. Removed the sub from the side so that it's, you know, mono in the low end. And added this EQ to make it a bit cleaner. Then we have this, which is just a weird like vocoded kind of layer, which is like being like modulated using this autopan. And this is just a sub thing that's playing a chord, like a sub oscillator playing a chord. Then we have this thing, which is a yet again the sub oscillator, but then with a Combs filter with a high resonance and then like some distortion. Added some delay, some super massive reverb, an OTT, some more reverb, and cut out the low end. Then we have a bunch of pads. Oh, we have another one of those like sound design sessions. First of all, it's weird slimy layer, pretty big pad. It's like repeating pad. Another repeating pad. Another repeating pad. Then right here we have a tape stop. We have this thing, which is a it's one of those instruments that just plays like a fifth, because I really wanted to have like a parallel fifth kind of thing going on a lot with this. And then you kind of hear this beneath the surface. And then we have like a little tape stop, which I don't do enough these days because they're like really cool. The way you do it is like you get a sampler and then you drag in just a fully exported like version of your song. You play a C4 or like just like any C so that it stays in key. And then you do like a massive pitch bend on it. And if you have the reverse on, this sustain mode, and you're gonna MIDI and have the range like cranked all the way up, that's how you get that like tape stop effect. Alright, and then we get to the midsection. Now the midsection is just kind of a repeat of the intro until we get to this point. So like the whole time we've been on the root note of E, and I wanted to kind of change that around and like bring some like melodicness into it, so it wasn't just the whole time it was just this grungy like heavy dubstep kind of thing. I wanted to have kind of a more like, you know, relaxed moment. And so I brought in like a bit more chords, so stuff like this, which just kind of establishes the like actual key signature a bit better. Yet again, the super fat Reese, this thing again, and then the melody, which is like now kind of becoming an octave lower, a bit more prominent in the mix. So a lot of ambience again. Then we have these like kicks playing, which is just a splice sample I found and like just added some dimension expander to make them like nice and huge sounding. These snares, which have like massive reverb on it. The trick to this one is to not have a low cut or a high cut, like, because if you low cut it, you don't get the fundamental like right here. You don't get that reverbing out. So that's like how you kind of want it to sit. I also frequency shifted it a bit to get the fundamental to line up on the note E, because it's a root note. Just some hi-hats, crash, little guitar layer. We have this thing coming in. and then we go right back into the third drop. All right, so there you have it. That's how I made Traction. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned something from it. Let me know if you like this video with a comment down below. Leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you in another video. Bye.